Now we're going to move on to drawing the elevations. The section will be the last thing that we do. So we're going to move on to view 2 or sheet 2. Now, I don't think you have created any of your views yet, so this is probably something that you need to do at this point. You should have your plan view drawn and dimensioned and ready to go. You should make sure that all of the things that you've drawn are on the right class. Make sure that, for example, your dimensions are on plan dimensions, right? Your text here is plan. I put that on plan dimension as well. Your notes, plan text. This could be plan text as well. Looks like I could just have one that's plan text. So just make sure that they are, because if they're not, and you've turned the class off that object is on, you're not going to be able to see it, and it's probably going to befuddle you. So just make sure that you've done that first. And then the next thing you want to do is come up here to Save Views, and we're going to save this view. Now, let me back up. Now, before you do that, make sure that you have the entire sheet showing here. Don't be zoomed in somewhere, because when you create the new view, it'll come to that zoomed in view, and you'll have to zoom out every time you go to it. So I always like to make sure I do that first. So I fit to page area, and then come up here, go to Save View, and I'm going to save it as, I'm going to just call it Sheet 1. Save the view orientation, save your zoom and pan, save. You leave all of this the way it is. You don't have to worry about this one here. This is for 3D stuff. I would leave Show, Snap, and Modify Others as the layer option that you want. Make sure that the 1/4 inch scale is the active scale. Excuse me. The 1/4 inch scale layer, the one we named a layer 1/4 inch scale, and so that's the one you want to be active. And then come over here and make sure all 3 of these are on. Title block 3/4 inch scale, that's the scale we're going to use for the section, and then 1/4 inch scale. Make sure all 3 of those have an eyeball next to them there. And then come down to classes. You can make any one of these classes the active one at this point, but make sure that for this sheet that you have completely turned off all of the elevation classes. And I've got some glazing. See, this is one that Vectorworks brought in. I don't think I need it. I guess I could turn that on. I don't want sheet 2 info because I'm on sheet 1. What else? Sheet common. These are for things that will be on both sheets. Sills, that came in with my windows. Title info, of course I want to see that. And all the section stuff and plan stuff I want to have turned on. Okay? So just make sure that you have all the elevation turned off. All of the elevation classes turned off. And click OK. And I'm actually not going to do this because I already have mine set up. I'm going to cancel out here, but you would hit OK. Alright, now the next thing you want to do is come up here and go to Save View, and let's do a new one that we'll call Sheet 2. And this one we want the active layer to be 1/4 inch. That's the scale that we're going to draw our elevations. But we do not want to have the 3/4 inch scale active, because that's only going to show up, that layer is only going to be used on sheet 1. And of course we want to see the title block. Okay. And then come down here to classes, and again you would set this up. You turn everything off that you had on for sheet 1 except for things like sheet common and title info, and then turn on all of the elevation classes and make sure that the active class is elevation objects. All right, I'm going to cancel out. And then what you should see is when you go to elevation, now if you saw all of that, you'd be pretty much done with the class. But you're not going to have that on your drawing. You still have to draw all of that. But you should have basically your title block with a blank drawing area in the middle of it. And then you should have some of the things showing up, the sheet common things, like the date and drawn by and BCT 105. Those are sheet common things, and they should show up. Now, if they don't, it may be that you put it on the wrong class. And so what I would recommend that you do, and I always do this, is go up here and create a view, a new view. This will be a view that you will never print, and we'll call it all. And we just go and we make sure that everything is turned on. We want everything turned on. Show, snap, and modify others. And then come over here, turn everything on. This way, if you see something and you can't select it, and you realize that it's on a class that's or a layer that's invisible, you will be able to deal with it. So I'm going to turn everything on, all, and go OK. Now once you do this, nothing happens basically after you select OK. You have to go back up and select all. Now watch what happens when I select all. You can see everything shows up there. You can't see you can just barely see my section behind the elevation there, but there it is. Everything is there. So I should be able to, if it's on the 1/4 inch scale, I should be able to select it. You see that? I can select all of these shingles and all of this stuff, anything on the 1/4 inch scale. Okay, so now we should be ready to draw our elevation. So let's do this. Let's go. I'll go to my elevation view, and what I'm going to do again is I'm going to draw off to the side here. I'm going to start with this foundation down here that's 3 feet high. I'm going to make sure that I'm on elevation objects. Okay, I don't want to be on plan objects. I want to be on elevation objects. And just real quickly, I want to look here and just see. We said no, don't use it at creation. So, okay, so we can basically assign any color to these things that we want. All right, so I'm going to double click on the rectangle tool, and I'm going to click on, let's see, what is it, 20 feet 6 inches by 3 feet high, and I'll bring it in. There it is. Now it has a fill, so I'm gonna, let's see, my palette must not be open. There's my attributes palette, and I'm gonna put in a pattern, and you can play around with these patterns. I'm gonna switch this, and I'm gonna make this one white, make this one black, and that's how I got that. Okay. So there's my foundation. Now I'm just going to duplicate this guy. I'm going to bring it up, set it up on top here, make sure I center it, and I'm going to resize it and make it 6 feet 8 inches. All right. I'm not going to worry about the fill right now, and I'm going to do another one now that's going to be 1 foot. So I'm just going to duplicate this, bring it up, make sure that I get it centered, and I'm going to make it, notice I have the anchor point here right at the bottom center, so that it always stays centered. And I'm going to make the height of this 12 inches. Alright, then I'm going to duplicate another one, bring it up, and it is 5 feet in height, so we'll go 5 feet 60 inches. All right, and then another 12 incher, so I can just duplicate this one and bring it up. All right, and so that looks pretty good. There's my basic structure. Now I'm gonna, just so this doesn't drive you guys crazy and drive me crazy, I'm gonna go ahead and change these colors. Let's see, I think I had that one a little darker. It's probably this one here. And then I'm going to use the eyedropper tool, capture this, come down here, give that the same color. I'm going to select this one. Oops, do that. Select this one and give it that little lighter color. There we go. And yeah, again, you guys, you feel free to, you know, do any colors you want. In fact, I want you to be creative with this and make this your project as much as you can. So there's the basic outline of the building minus the roof. So now let's draw the roof. When you look at your drawing, you'll notice that we have a 12-12 slope. So it goes up 12 inches, it goes over 12 inches, up 12, over 12. So it's basically a 45-degree angle. So what I'm going to do is, I have some measurements here that I can use, which is nice. I have 11 feet, 2.5 inches from the top of this board, this 12-inch board, to the top of the rafter. So I'm going to go ahead and use a locus point. So come over here, let me bring this over here. Get the locus point, and I'm going to place it right here in the center. And then I'm going to move it up, Command M. I'm going to move it up 11 feet, 2.5 inches. All right, so that represents the top of the roof. Now I've got to deal with this eave. So I'm going to draw a line here. This is just a line that I'm going to do away with here in just a moment. My overhang is 2 feet, so I'm going to move that line 0 in the y-axis and -2 feet or 24 inches in the y-axis. Forgot to put the negative in. Command M. Let's put the negative in. Okay, there we go. Now what I'm going to do is draw a line. Just use the line tool, and I'm going to come down here and I'm going to draw this line at, I'm going to tab twice and put in 45 degrees. All right, so that gives me the bottom of the eave. I'm going to put a locus point right there, and I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to get rid of that. Now I'm going to use the polygon tool. I'm going to start right down here. I'm going to go up. Now I don't want to go up here because I'm on the bottom of the rafter where I start, and this locus point here represents the top of the rafter. So what I'm going to do is get my little datum point, and then I'm going to tab in here twice and put in 45 degrees. Return, click, come up, click on the locus point, come down here, get a datum point, click, and click. And there's my rafter. Now there's probably 4 or 5 different ways that you could do this. That just made sense to me to do it that way. All right, I'm going to grab the eyedropper tool now, and I'm going to put that color in that I used for the bands. Okay, now rather than draw another rafter over there, we can just mirror it, can't we? So let's do that. Let's go ahead and we'll do that. I'll select the rafter, select the mirror tool, click up here, and there's my other rafter. I think probably the next thing we should do is put in the triangular windows. That'll define that space, and then we can deal with this area that's going to be sided next. So again, I'm going to use the polygon tool. I'm going to come here. Now these windows are all 5 by 5, and again, these are 45-degree angles. So I can just come up 5 feet. I can come over here. To a 45-degree angle again, and I can just go ahead and put in 45 degrees. All right, it wants to go that way. Okay, we'll do it that way. And then come over here. So there's my basic window. Now I'm going to go to the offset tool, this guy right here, and I'm going to put in, let's see, we'll put in 2 inches. Let's try that first. I can't remember whether I used 2 or 1.5 inches. But let's go up to the modes bar here. Let's make sure we have the right selection. So we want the second one selected. We want to leave it in place and then create the new. And then let's put in 2 inches and see how we like that. Come into the center here and click. And there we have our molding. All right, so now I'm going to change the attributes of this triangular window so that when I mirror duplicate it, it'll have all the same attributes. So the exterior portion of it is going to be a green, dark green trim, and then the interior portion, the glass, I'm going to make a light gray color like that, maybe a little lighter. Let's see if we can find one that's a little bit lighter. There we go. Okay. So there's my window. Now I'm simply going to mirror duplicate it. Oops, I didn't grab the whole thing. Actually, what I should probably do is group it now. Hold the shift key down. Make sure I have both of these guys selected. Let me do it this way. There we go, and I'll group it. And now I'm going to mirror it and duplicate it. All right, so there's my windows. Now I need to, let me slide over here. Now what I need to do is define this area where the siding is going to go, because there's really no definition there. So and I couldn't give it a color if I wanted to. So I'm going to use my polygon tool, and I'm going to come up here. I'm going to draw up and come down here and over. And there it is. There it's defined now. I can give it a color. I think it's that light. Yeah, that's right. And actually, I think I've got the rafters the wrong color. Let me change the rafters. They are the darker. There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do is use the offset tool. And I'm going to make sure that I have maybe a 0.15 line weight. I'm going to draw a line right here. All right, and then I'm going to use the offset tool, and I'm going to set the distance for the offset at 6 inches. So it'll be like 6-inch bevel siding. And I'm going to come in here and click. Okay. Okay, now we have the problem, we have these extra lines. So let's go ahead and let's trim those. Here's the trim tool. And this is real easy to do. We're just basically going to come in and click out here, trim all of those off. And and we'll have to trim this twice. Trim these, and now we'll only, I got a little tiny piece right there. Okay, got it. And there we go. All right, beautiful. Now I'm going to group the polygon that I drew and all of these lines. And I think what I'll do is, since I've selected that, I'm gonna delete this window over here. And we'll just do all of this at once. So here we go. We'll go right here like this. Make sure they're selected. You don't want the rafter selected. Although we could have, you know, selected it at the same time and mirror duplicated it as well. But I wasn't smart enough to do that. So, all right. So here we go. Mirror duplicate. I'll just go right here and right here, and there we go. Beautiful. Got our siding drawn. Now I think you have enough information now to figure out how to draw in this siding down here. Now this siding, you could do this as a hatch, and it might be kind of fun for you to go in and create a 6-inch hatch and apply it to that big rectangle which we drew here. Right here, just apply the hatch to this, and then when you put your windows and your door in, you're just gonna, you know, put them, make sure they're on top. If they go behind, you'll hit Command F or Control F to bring them to the front. The door is a 3/0 door, and it's a French door with a light in it. I simply drew just like a point. Let's see, what did I use? Probably like a 0.05, a very small line weight as far as the line weight goes on this. Yeah, I used 0.13 on this. And you know, if you don't have 0.13, you could go in here, set line thickness. You could set it to 0.1 if you wanted to, for example. You can change it, customize it. Okay, so you can draw those. I think you guys can do all of that. And on the next video, I'm going to show you how to do these shingles, which is a sort of time-consuming thing, but they really look good when you finish. We want kind of a rustic look here. We didn't want a real clean, you know, shingles where they're all perfectly aligned. And so this took a little bit of time to do, but I think that it was worth it. So I will show you that on the next video. The other thing I would like you to do at this point is to dimension it, if you will. Go ahead and get it all dimensioned out. And when you do this side view over here, all I did there was I took basically this. Let me just show you real quickly, give you an idea of how I did it, and then you can sort of figure it out on your own. I took this and I duplicated it, brought it over here, actually to the other side. You know, I got rid of the roof, got rid of all of this stuff. Here, let me get rid of this. The rafter goes, all of this goes, delete. And then what I did was I pulled a line over here as sort of a reference point, because think about it, this is what you're going to see in terms of the roof. You're going to see the edge of the eave here, the end of the rafter, the plumb cut of the rafter. So I did that, and then I knew that I had a 2-inch overhang, or 2-foot overhang. And if you look on the plan, you'll see that from front to back it has a 1-foot overhang. And we know that it's let's see. Oh, the other thing you can do. Now make sure when you do this, make sure that you get these guys perfectly aligned with each other, right? So that when you do pull this across, if this, oh shoot, I can't find my, where is my, oh here it is right in front of me. If this whole thing is down here like this, and it's not aligned horizontally, then the roof isn't going to be in the right place. So you want to make sure that that's correct. Now the other thing you can do is to draw yourself a reference line across here, right? Make sure that it's horizontal. And there's the top of your roof. Now we can just start changing these guys and the dimensions. Make sure that you have the anchor point at the right spot. Let's make this one, let's see, what is it? 25 feet, I believe it is. So the width is going to be 25 feet. This one's going to be 25 feet. 25, so on and so forth. 25. I could have just selected all of those, but again, I'm just not that smart. I'm not that good. I'm just not that good. And now I have everything I need pretty much to draw the roof in. I can come up here with a reference line. I always like to make these reference lines longer than what the actual object that they're referencing is going to be, so that I can find them, so that they don't get sort of buried in there. And I'm going to move this over 2 feet. No, excuse me, 1 foot. The overhang on the front and back is 12 inches. And, okay. And then I can just mirror this one. Well, I have to mirror it off of here. There we go. Okay, so there it is. And now I can draw in a simple rectangle. Oops, I didn't get it right. Let's do that again. Okay, there's my roof. And I went to the attributes palette and looked for some images. Let's see what we can find here for images. There you go. There's an image. Let's see. We have a roof. Is that where I got that? Here we go. Roofing shingles. There we go. There's your shingles right there. And that'll take care of that for you. And then get rid of these reference lines. Don't forget to remove them. And that's started. And now you can put the windows in. You know how to do that. And then you can dimension that and put in your labels and so on and so forth. Okay, so the next video I'm going to show you how to do the shingles, and then I'm going to show you how to do this handrail down here, and I'll also show you how to do this hatch. You'll be so thrilled and happy to be doing those hatches again, won't you? Aren't they fun? This one's really kind of fun, actually. So see you soon. All right, take care.